Yo, 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 it's Tom Nook and Isabel coming at you live to talk about movies.
Do you want to address the ridiculous outfits we are wearing right now?
I'd rather not.
Really?
I don't know, do you have anything to say?
I just want to say that this is obviously Doc's choosing. I had no say in this. I did agree.
Yeah, you did agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a Nintendo pop-up store right now. And
But if you're seeing this, it's too late. It's
gone
now.
It's going and
you
gone.
cannot get this drip.
Yeah, no.
Don't try.
And yeah, Doc went and absolutely went ham in the Nintendo store.
Hell yeah, dude.
And thought we'd wrap today so you can get your money's worth.
Yeah, exactly. I gotta milk this, bro.
Actually,
Does Nintendo have movies? Well, they have the Super Mario movie.
The Animal Crossing movie is
The Animal Crossing movie is really good. We should talk about that. We should talk about that. We should make one episode where it's just that.
I actually love that film so much. Like, unironically, I think it's really like
good,
it. I
yeah.
always watch it when I'm sick. I find it so... But it's really hard to access it now. Like, the file is just, like, gone online. It's really hard.
Yeah, and I wonder if it's been, like, Blu-rayified.
I don't think so. I once tried to find it and I couldn't. As a kid, I would just watch it. Someone uploaded it in like multiple parts to YouTube.
Oh yeah.
And it was like 5-minute parts, and I remember just like watching that. Yeah, what a great memory.
Yeah, we should check if we can find it at some point, because also it'd be good to watch. For a watch party.
It would be fun.
Because you can also not pay attention to it.
Yeah.
And have a good time.
It's so chill. And it's
guys, what if we just talk about this movie instead?
Yeah, Animal Crossing. That's really the true taste is at.
Yeah. But earlier, actually, you were talking about dreams, and it made me realize I had a dream yesterday where I was on a film set. Have you ever had dreams about being on a film set?
Yeah.
Yeah?
But only ever really bad dreams, I think. Like stress dreams, like anxiety dreams, where like you're on set and like everything's going wrong and you're under time pressure.
It's weird because the dream, I don't really dream on being on film sets, but obviously yesterday I did, and I think part of it stems from the conversation that we were having yesterday. We were just like discussing films and stuff. And I dreamt that I crashed a film set, which is something that I've done many times.
Really?
Yeah.
You've crashed film sets?
Many times.
Like
dude.
big productions?
No. Because obviously like people clock you right away.
Yeah, although there was that guy recently who managed to sneak onto the set of June 3.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. And he made like a whole TikTok about it, and it was actually really inappropriate because he was basically trying to like expose like what the sets looked like, and he was like, this is what they're doing, like this is what everything looks like, and he like snuck in and he pretended that he was like a cleaner. He wore a high-vis jacket and he managed to like break in.
Damn. Well, I will say it's a perfect mask. That or a t-shirt that says staff in the back.
Yeah.
You do that and you're invincible.
Yeah. You just have like
plot armor.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, I've actually, and I don't endorse this. I don't do it because like in film sets, people are trying to get work done.
Yeah.
It's not a place for you to be touristing around.
Mucking about. No way.
But if someone hypothetically wanted to sneak into a film set, my hypothetical advice would be to go to the art people, to go to the production department, because they can actually use you. Like they need a pair of extra hands.
Yeah.
To be putting stuff up, to be picking stuff from the floor, to be cleaning up blood,
Yeah.
If there's a department that could use a runner that's just vibing until they're needed, it's the art department.
Yeah, you know what? There's definitely truth to that. Someone somewhere will always need a pair of extra hands, but especially that.
Yeah. Do you like production design? Like, would you go into that? Because I used to actually, before I started like film directing and writing and stuff, my real first incision into the filmmaking was with makeup. And
really?
like special effects, cuts and
cool.
burns and bruises.
Yeah.
So I've kind of like flirted with production design a little bit.
Yeah. That's funny. I've not really, besides when we had to do it in school.
For school, yeah.
I was a production designer in one of the films, and I actually really enjoyed my role as a production designer.
You did really good. I remember the set that you built.
Thank you. It was very difficult for that one. But
I was quite ambitious.
It was ambitious, yeah. But I don't know. I think I do like it, and I actually do commend myself generally on my taste. I think I do have good taste. Pretend that I'm not wearing this. Jesus.
Actually, maybe we should quickly say to our listeners, we're wearing a normal outfit, but on top of that, we're wearing Isabel floral Hawaiian shirt and Tom Nook
shirt.
Hawaiian shirt. So just so you know, I blessed Emily with a bit of drip today.
Yes, blessed is an
Anyway, you were
talking
about having good taste.
I think I have good taste in like decor and stuff like that. So I think I'm quite good.
Yeah, your house is lovely.
Thank you.
it's really well decorated.
I have like curated like so many knickknacks over the years.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but yeah, I'm not like particularly passionate about it. But that did remind me, I have actually crashed a film set before.
Oh yeah, you have.
It was this is actually a fun story. So We Live in Time, that terrible movie with Florence Pugh and Andrew Garfield. Right. Yeah, it was filming like on my street in 2022. And it was during my unemployed era. I was so depressed. And one day I looked out the window and there was like a guy sitting on the street in like a fold-out chair, and he had like a walkie-talkie, and I was like, he looks like he's on a film production.
Wait a minute.
And went out and talked to him, and I was like, are you like a location scout or something? I was like,
are you like filming
something? I wouldn't know about that. And he was like, yeah, we're actually doing this movie. And he was like, it's, called We Live in Time. And I'd seen something about it on Twitter. So I was like, I know that Andrew Garfield is in that. And then I basically just like hung around like all day and tried to speak to somebody about getting a job. And it didn't work. I gave somebody my email address and I was like, please hire me for post-production work. Nothing.
Yeah. Maybe it's for the best.
Maybe it's for the best. Maybe I would have...
The most recent time I've crashed a film set is actually similar. It was one time... Well, it's not really a film set. That one was a music video, I believe. But it was not that long ago, and I couldn't sleep. So I went out very near my house to just go smoke a joint. More on that later. But I went to smoke a joint, and it was very late. It was like 1 a.m.
Yeah.
And there was this bridge, and there was film crew like huddled under the bridge because it had just started to rain. So I was looking at them and I was like, oh, they're filming a music video. And I was counting how many people were in. It was like something like 7 to 12 at most people, including cast. Intimate. So I was like, this is not a film. This is not a short film. This is probably a music video with 1 or 2 performers.
Yeah.
And I was like hanging out with them for a little bit. I couldn't understand a word they were saying. They were all speaking Arabic. And I was there like,
that's cool. So you though, to just be hanging out with a group of people at 1 a.m. under a bridge and speaking a language that you can't even
stoned
understand.
out of my mind. Just like, yeah, guys, cool.
I'm making a movie.
That said though, I don't really endorse it very much because I did get a producer fired one time because I was crashing and she started flirting with me.
Oh shit.
So she got in trouble.
Oof.
So I wouldn't really... Don't do it, you guys.
Don't flirt with Doc. You will ruin lives.
It's a dangerous game.
Lives were destroyed.
Anyway, cool. Should we get on to the movies for today?
Yeah, let's do our actual job.
Yeah. Why don't you start today?
Oh, okay. So the theme of today's episode, I'm really excited about this one. The theme is rumination.
Yeah.
Rumination.
The nation of Rumi.
For anyone that doesn't know what that word means, because it's kind of a niche word, I guess. It just means like thinking about something obsessively, like something you can't stop thinking about. Ruminating, just going over and over in your mind about something. So the film I chose for today was 8th Grade.
Edith Grade. Shall I start your timer?
Please do.
Cool, let's go.
So this film was directed by Bo Burnham, written and directed by Bo Burnham.
Did you know that he streams? He streams video games.
Really?
I don't think like regularly, but I've seen streams
like recently?
of him. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, and he loves Death Stranding.
Wow.
Shout out.
Interesting. Hey, Bo Burnham.
Yeah.
So directed by Bo Burnham, and it's a story about like a 12-year-old girl. She's kind of on the cusp of going into 8th grade and going into like high school for the first time. And it's all about her anxieties and kind of social anxiety about interacting with people her age, about fitting in, about being liked, about being in love, about having these like classic kind of teen experiences, but feeling really restricted by her anxiety and being able to have those experiences. And
her body as well, like not being confident,
feeling comfortable,
and not only like self-conscious. Not only being self-conscious about your body, but also like, or your body changes when you're a teenager.
Yeah.
And you don't really know what's going on half the time.
Yeah, it's really horrible. But I really love this movie. It was one of those films that had a really like kind of deep emotional impact on me the first time I watched it, because I'd never seen a film that had actually captured how I felt when I was, growing up, and particularly having anxiety. And like, I, like her, didn't really know that I had anxiety, but I just knew that I felt like shit all the time. And was always so stressed about social interactions and like so anxious. And this movie just perfectly captures how it feels to be so like just like where your mind is like your biggest enemy, and you're constantly obsessing and thinking about things that are so unhealthy, but you can't stop thinking about how people are perceiving you, like how you come across to others, how uncool you are, how like pathetic you are, you know, how you're not like other people your age,
and how you cannot stop thinking about it.
Yeah, and it's like a real...
It's all the time. It's constant.
Torture, yeah. And I just think it really gets into the headspace, interestingly, of a teenage girl, which is interesting because obviously Bo Burnham is not a teenage girl.
He's not a teenage girl, yeah.
But he understands anxiety, and that's a universal experience, but he also manages to articulate through the perspective of a young girl that's kind of growing up on the internet and also trying to perform what she thinks like teenage girls should be like. And she has this YouTube channel, and she's kind of giving advice on like how to be confident and how to, you know,
put yourself out there.
Yeah. And she's kind of performing this version of herself that she wants to be, the version that is confident and able to give advice, and
the one that's
kind
popular
and speak with authority on how to be these things. And I don't know, I think it just really... Ruminating is just such a key thing to
It's interesting that you said about her being like Bo Burnham not being a teenage girl, because that was one of my first thoughts. I watched this movie with my partner, and I told him, I was like, it's interesting that he chose to tell the story from the perspective of a teenage girl. And he immediately was very facetious, being like, oh yeah, because we need more stories about men and like male role models, because we don't have enough male role models. And I was like, that's not what I mean.
No.
What I mean is that this is a very intimate view about a character who does not have the same lived experiences as the guy telling it, which I find quite admirable. I think
it's impressive. He did get quite a lot of shit at the time for writing it. Yeah, because people were like, why have you like written from a perspective of somebody you don't know? But it's like, that's the point of writing and creativity, to try and enter the minds of other people. Yeah. And I think...
And people say write what you know, and I think that's still possible, even if you tell the perspective from someone of a different gender.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it would have been more predictable for him to write it about like a teenage boy.
It could have been a they them.
But yeah, that's 8th grade. I actually want to tell a little anecdote, because I think it's really similar to something that happens in the film. I had this like core memory of being a teenager, and this was when my anxiety was like so bad that I was like ripping holes in my clothes constantly because my hands were so fidgety, and like my face was always bright red, and I was always sweating. My hands were always dripping with sweat. It was like awful. And I remember one day in class, I was I'd eaten an apple before going into class, and I walked in and I knew I needed to throw the apple in the bin, but I was too anxious to walk in front of other people to go up to the bin, because the bin was like at the front of the class. I just didn't want to be seen by anyone. Yeah. So I sat for the whole lesson with this apple core like in my hand. It was like summer. It was really sticky.
Oh my god.
My hand was sweating, and I was just holding this apple core, and the whole lesson I was like, I need to throw it in the bin. I need to throw it in the bin. But I was so anxious that I couldn't even walk up to a bin and throw it out. And yeah, there's just like that kind of anxiety is captured in 8th grade, and it was just like a very kind of freeing experience to see something where I was like, oh, this was actually me, and I'd never seen that before.
And it's not all good. Like bad things happen.
Bad things happen, yeah.
And as you said, it's quite like a release at the end, where the movie ends and you are able to have gone through this journey with the main character. What's her name? For $100, what's the name of the protagonist of your favorite movie?
Oh God.
I actually don't remember either. Let's see.
She's called like Edith or something?
Michaela,
sorry.
No.
Edith, because you said Edith Grade.
No, her name is...
It is Michaela.
Kayla. That was close. Yeah. Kayla Day.
Kayla, yeah. Yeah,
also, interesting that Bo Burnham directed it, but he does not have a cameo.
No.
You'd think.
But I like that, because it's not about him, you know, and I think it's really nice that the story is more important than his ego.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, so that's me on 8th grade. Would you like to introduce your film?
Yeah,
today?
let me think if I have something to say about that right away. Oh yeah, you were telling your story about the it's something that would also happen in the movie. Yeah. I can't relate because I was never a teenager. I was born awesome.
Doc just like came out as he is. You're just an eternal being. You're like Doctor Who.
No, I actually feel like I went through 2 teenage hoods. The first one when I was a teenager, and then the second one when I moved and I kind of started my life over.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, I'm a new person now.
That's the thing. Yeah, I do think you go through physical puberty in your teens and emotional puberty in your early 20s. Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
You have a whole video about that. Go check it out.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
So your film for today.
Shall we talk about my movie then?
Go for it. Ruminating. What did you choose?
All right. So today I want to talk with the class about last year at Marienbad, which is, it used to be my favorite movie of all time, and it was my favorite movie for a couple of years. Yeah, I'll get more into that later.
Yeah.
Now, it's difficult to say what the movie's about because the movie doesn't really have a plot. In fact, I would say that even though it's a film in the sense that it's audio and visual, I would say it's more of a philosophy piece than it is a literal narrative with characters and stuff. There's 3, quote, main characters, but they don't even have names.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a guy, his wife, and this guy who is sure that he met her in the past. Yeah. And really, that's the drive of the whole film. So in the sense of it being rumination, I think it's that because this guy who sees this woman and is like instantly taken by her, it just cannot stop thinking about her. And they're in this hotel, and it's this really like fancy hotel. It's baroque. Yeah. It's really elegant, and in this space, he just keeps chasing her in a way and finding her and telling her like, I know you. We met last year. You said this. You stood over there. You held your hand like this, and she is like, no, that wasn't me. That was some other girl. I wasn't there. I wasn't there that year. I wasn't here. And they have this kind of like tension and argument about what happened last year at Marienbad. Yeah. And he cannot let it go, and she has conflicting ideas about what happened. So, in the sense of rumination, I chose this film for 2 reasons. Number 1, it's the obsession about this person, this guy's obsession with this woman. But then number 2, this movie follows a logic that's half dreamlike, but also it's just a chain of thought, right? He sees her, and she puts her hand on her clavicle up here, and then the movie cuts to another moment where she put her hand on her clavicle, and it's almost like she was reminded of that. So the movie hops over to that time, and then they're walking down the garden and said, well, look at that garden over there, and then all of a sudden they're there, but it's a different time because they're just reminded of that place. Yeah. And it's also dreamlike in the sense that things don't always visually make a lot of sense. It's
such a fascinating visual style.
I think the most famous shot of the film is an exterior of a garden, seen from like a balcony, and the people are casting shadows, but the plants are not. Yeah. So it's surreal and
it's very surreal, and it's very the whole thing, it just kind of feels like it's decaying, because it's kind of this man that's trapped in a memory, and he's being consumed by a memory, and he's obsessing over this woman, and he's trying to communicate this obsession and this love to the woman that has supposedly forgotten all about it. So he's like really in love with her, and she's kind of over it, and he's like trying to remind her of the love that they had, or supposedly had. And meanwhile, this whole setting, it just feels like so stagnant and like stale.
The beginning of the movie, he's just narrating, going on and on about this beautiful hotel and these halls and the walls, but how the carpet drowns out all sounds.
Sucks up all the sound.
You close the door to a room and it's like it disappeared. Nothing else exists outside of the immediate surrounding.
Do you know what it reminds me of? Kind of weird, but you know the house in Coraline? And you know how, like, when she captures all the ghost eyes and the house is, like, on an island and it just melts and
just kind of melts away. Yeah.
That's what this is like. It's like this hotel is its own universe. It's its own planet, and it kind of just exists in separation. Yeah. And it's, like, in this weird kind of alternate parallel universe, and he's the only person that's alive in it, and everyone else is just, like, a prop. Yeah. And he's just like floating in this weird realm of existence. And
I definitely see that. Yeah. And I think it reminds me of Magritte. You know Magritte?
No.
The painter. He painted "This is not a pipe."
Oh,
He painted the guy with the apple in front of, and like on top of his face, because he used to say that he was a philosopher first and a painter second. That his paintings are often more about a unique idea to think about rather than a depiction of something. And I definitely think that this is the case with this movie as well, because it's not really about anything. It's more so it's just about watching these people kind of like almost be in mental conflict with each other, and talking and stuff. And yeah, it doesn't really have much of a resolution at the end.
No, I mean, you think at the end that you're going to see the memory of the two of them kind of finally being together, but then she just kind of leaves, and he's stuck in...
And he's still thinking about her and stuff, have you seen the timeline of this movie? Alain Resnais, the director, made a timeline because there is a quote-unquote canonical timeline of the movie. Are you ready?
Yeah.
We'll put this on screen.
Oh, what the hell?
Yeah. That's the timeline of the movie. It looks like a... What's this, where you write music?
Yeah, it looks like a score.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not a pentagram. What is it?
Really interesting. I don't even know what that is. It's like not even a... Yeah, that's so interesting.
So it's completely all over the place. It's non-linear to the max.
Yeah, we'll talk more about that because the structure is really fascinating.
Now, I'll tell you, it used to be, and maybe we can segue into that, right? How much time have we got left?
Yeah, you got like 30 seconds.
Okay, cool. It used to be my favorite movie because at the time, by the way, I need to tell you, when I first watched it, it was in the context of a film school, a film university. And we had a cinematic appreciation class, which was just film... What do you call it? Film studies.
Yeah.
We were just watching films, talking about them, discussing their nuances. You know, it was literally just a movie about getting art students a class about getting art students to watch films. And this was like the third week, bro.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What was the first one they showed? I'm curious. Do you remember?
I do not. Maybe if I do a bit more memory, I will.
Yeah.
But yeah, interesting that they chose this film. She was an incredible teacher. Shout out. Anyway, she put this film to a whole bunch of like new art students to open our eyes, you know? And it was cool. I really liked it.
Yeah.
But at the time, I was also unmedicated and medicated in the sense that it was like peak stoner. I was genuinely, at the time, I was smoking so much, which is why I was talking about weed before, right? But part of the reason why I'm, you know, taking all this into account, right? Like new experiences, opening my mind to new stuff, going to art school, and also just being constantly stoned made it so that oftentimes my life itself felt a bit dreamlike in the sense that I would be having a conversation with you, and then I would be having a conversation with someone else, and my mind would like make the link between the two, and that often happens in the movie. Let's say that the characters, like, he grabs her hand and suddenly it cuts to another moment where he's leading her by the hand, but the conversation flows as if nothing had happened.
Yeah.
They're having an argument, and they grab each other by the hand, and the next thing they're dancing, but they're talking as if the conversation was linear.
Yeah.
And to my mind, I was like, oh my gosh, that's what I go through every day.
Yeah.
So it was definitely like peak stoner vibes for me, and I really liked it. I was obsessed with it for ages. I've seen this movie 5 or 6 times.
Yeah, that's wild. I've only seen it twice.
Yeah.
Interesting, I think the first time I watched it, because it is... The way that it's structured, it's kind of like this like fragmentation of this man's like torment and his pain over not being with this woman that he loves, and it's the torment of like trying to communicate this love to her, but she's completely like closed off to it. And I watched it at a time and I was like really like pining for someone that obviously felt the same way and was like, I don't give a shit about you. And it is interesting because it is like that weird feeling of like, it communicates that feeling of kind of like almost like dissociating from real life and like feeling so consumed by something that you're not really present. You're kind of like, every single thing you see will remind you of something from the past, or like remind you of something you just forgot, you know, or like
this insular obsession which takes you away.
It pulls you away from reality. And this other world and other state that he's in is kind of manifested in this hotel, and this state of being that's so obsessed and like drenched in the past that he's not even in our realm of existence. He's just like living in this like ghostly, decaying house that's like a manifestation of his desire, and it's like unmoving and it's kind of trapped. It's a fantastic
it's quite
film.
Intense
I remember the first time when I watched it, I saw it in the cinema, and that opening sequence, this is something I want to talk about in comparison of both films. Sonically, like how the score kind of represents the inner world of the characters, and that opening sequence is kind of this strange, like, it's kind of fluid, like camera movements, like drifting down these hallways and corridors, and this man is like narrating this like kind of story about the hotel, but it's very like strange and lucid and
kind of like
really abstract. And this music is playing that's just so, it's just like dreadful. It's just so like makes you feel horrible. It's so anxiety inducing. It's like this weird like organ music. It's very unsettling. And it just like kind of drowns the whole thing in this like awful mood.
And also weird things are happening in the sense that it's the first, right away we see odd things about time, because mostly you see shots of the empty halls, but then you see a performance that's happening on stage. And when the performance ends and the audience stands up to talk to each other and stuff, they actively move and then stop as if time stopped. And then they move again with no explanation about why it's happening.
They're all like statues. They're all kind of frozen in time, like his memory. But the sound is it's just such a unique kind of backdrop to the film. And I remember it making me feel kind of sick when I watched it. Like I felt so uneasy that I actually felt like unwell, because it really just captures this like
kind of oppressive mindset.
Kind of state where it's like you want to be free, but you're just so consumed by a single thought or memory that like you feel like drowning in your own head.
And then I think the biggest, there are characters, right? Even if they're not named, there are characters, and I think an interesting character is also the woman's husband. Because all he really is a foil to the main character. Because while he's obsessive about this woman and he can't stop thinking about her, and it's completely irrational, because even she says like, stop it bro, like no, and he can't let go. Then we see him, and he's the master of this kind of game he plays, where it's completely logical, right? It's about picking up cards or picking up matchsticks and not being the last one to pick up any number of the things set down. So while one of them is emotional and illogical and wild, his foil is calculating and conniving and can see 2 steps ahead. So I was like, okay, so there are no characters, but there are drives. There are mentalities. And because of this, I feel like you could even read the entirety of the film, as if they were all one person. You have the id, the ego, and the superego, 3 conflicting states of mind that are all disparate from each other, but together make the perspective of someone. It's completely abstract, but it does manage to convey emotions, which, as I said, as like when I saw it at the beginner of a film journey, as a novice film watcher, it completely opened my eyes about what film could be. And I love that they made this film. 1961.
Wild.
Yeah, bro.
Wild. It's like
crazy.
People throw the phrase ahead of its time around too much, but this is genuinely ahead of its time. Yeah, I think that's interesting as well in terms of 8th grade. Wait, remind me what you were just saying, because I had a point.
I was talking about how they all could represent one person, and that it's like a characters, but they're really like abstractions.
Yes, so I think that's really interesting in relation to 8th grade, because you could also say the same about Kaylee and also her online persona, and also like the person that she's trying to be in school. And I think that divide between the self is really interesting in how that manifests, especially during that scene in school when they're doing that mock kind of school shooter
oh my God.
scenario.
Jeez.
And she crawls under the tables and she's like very determined that she's going to go and speak to this boy that she has a crush on. And she's speaking to him and she's kind of trying to pretend to be this idea of like what she thinks like a kind of cool girl is.
Yeah.
And to her, that's somebody that would kind of just like be very trade sex and like sexual acts as a way of like gaining popularity. So she knows that this guy is cool and she's trying to be liked, and she starts like saying like, oh yeah, like I can send you nudes, or like I can do this.
Totally take nudes.
I can totally do that. And
I have a boyfriend, but we broke up.
Yeah, conveniently he like lives in Canada or whatever it is. And I think that's really interesting because I think we all do that, especially either when you're in a situation like this character, when you're like really in pain about something or really in torment, and you're kind of like fractured between these like different states of being, but also as a teenager when you're learning how to be yourself, it's kind of this like really weird space where you feel like you do have like multiple different kind of like ways of like being and expressing yourself, and they're all like in conflict with each other, and you don't necessarily like all of them or feel like they're even authentic to you. But I think that's really,
you're a bit torn between who you used to be and who you want to be.
Yeah. And I think it really breaks my heart in that scene at the end where she's burning this box of it's like a time capsule, and she made it when she was younger about who she thought she was going to be when she was older, and it says like, to Kaylee, like the coolest girl in the world, and she burns it because she thinks like, I'm not the coolest girl in the world.
Almost like she failed her younger self. Yeah,
she failed to be who she wanted to be, and it's just like it's a really upsetting scene. I mean, it's like beautifully written, like her father's there and he's seeing her doing this, he's kind of like trying to coach her into seeing her own worth, and but that same idea of like obsessing over who you want to be and this like version of this life that you want to have, and this like love in Marienbad, it's like this love he wants to have with another person, but in 8th grade it's the love that she wants to have for herself. She wants to feel confident and she wants to feel good about herself, and it's like all kind of manifesting in this like really destructive moment where she's like, well, I'm going to burn it because this person never manifested. And interesting how in Marienbad that destructiveness is kind of built into the structure of the film itself, like the whole
you see
the editing style, and
you see the film more from the perspective of that feeling rather than the perspective of a character.
Right, yeah. The whole, he's kind of not really super present, but like it's just seeped into like the mood and the structure of the film itself. Yeah. That you feel this destructiveness towards like this period of his life and his memory and like how he wanted it to pan out. Yeah.
By the way, there's something I need to say.
Yeah.
Miss Kayla doing her little vlogs, right? Yeah. Getting 0 views, mad relatable.
Yeah.
but doing at the end of every video, throwing the white power sign.
Oh.
My goodness. I
didn't even notice that.
She goes at the end of every episode saying "Gooch," and I'm like, oh. Yeah, that did not age very well. No. Yikes.
Yeah, no. Bless. She had no idea.
None of us did.
Things we do when we're young. Yeah.
But, and it's very sweet because she goes in, like, these videos are literal in the sense that they do happen in the world of in the universe of this movie. Even other characters see them and have opinions about them.
Yeah.
But they are treated almost as if it's her internal dialogue about what's happening in front of her.
Yeah.
She's at this party and she wants to fit in, so she goes to the bathroom to have a think, and then as she comes out, you see her recording a video about how to fit in.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that it's kind of like the structure of the movie, in a less figurative way as last year, does show how a person navigates a certain feeling.
Yeah, it's kind of like a retrospective reimagining of her own memories, which is interesting because Marienbad is also his restructuring of his own memories as well. It's him trying to
like a corruption even.
Yeah, his memory's being corrupted by this person not reciprocating this love, and he's trying to like rewrite it and show them like how it actually was, and like rewrite the love that he feels was there. And with Kayla, she's kind of trying to rewrite her own memories and narrate them as like the person that she wanted to be in those situations. So like the house party, the pool scene is like fantastic, and she's like so, that shot where she's like walking into the pool and the music kind of like builds up and she's, you know, mustering up the confidence to go and join these other kids, and it's just kind of, she desperately wants to be this person, and
so she talks herself into it.
Talks herself into it, but it's like the kind of clash between how she feels in pretending to do that and the toll that it takes on her emotionally, and also, like living with that performance. But I think that's kind of inherent to, honestly, getting out of mental illness. You have to perform your way out of mental illness.
Yeah.
Like,
fake it till you make it.
It really is, yeah. The only way I conquered my social anxiety was just, like, pretending to be confident and pretending that, like, I was okay.
Yeah, definitely.
To do it, you know. But
I was quite popular when I was in art film school, and that's just because I chose to be.
I remember you saying, we had a conversation about this. Yeah.
I was just like, you know what? I'm here for only 2 years, and I want to be cool, so let's be cool, you know?
Yeah, that was kind of my approach as well. Before film school, like, I'd been obviously at the, like, music, I'd been at conservatory, and that was, like, a tragic experience, and then it was, like, COVID, and, like, during that 1 year, I was like, I'm just gonna, like, make myself the best I can be to enjoy film school, and by the time I got there, I remember people saying, like, oh, you seem confident and all this kind of stuff, and I was like, it's literally just a mask. Like, I am literally, like, faking it until I start to feel it. And I think that's so funny.
Yeah.
How, like, I don't know, it's kind of like delusion, but in different ways, you know? Like, Marienbad, it's like delusion over trying to convince another person of a memory.
Of a certain feeling,
8th grade, it's delusion over trying to make herself feel better, and that's
internal
so
versus
real.
external.
Yeah, it's so real.
About the scene that you were talking about, that pool party scene, it's very funny. I was watching it with my husband, and she goes into the water, and she goes into a corner of the pool as she's like hyping herself up to be sociable.
Yeah.
And this random ass kid pops out of the water and says some weird shit, and then he's like, "Do you want to see a contest where who can hold their breath the longest?" And my husband turned to me and he was like, "That's you.
It's you.
That's literally you."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Fuck, dude, it's true."
It is. Those people are so important though, you know, because, I don't know, especially when you are that age, or if you are like socially anxious or whatever, the people that rescue you from your own rumination while you're obsessing over how to be in that given social situation are actually like doing the Lord's work, you know? I can't count the amount of parties I've been to where I was like standing in the corner of the room, and then like you see one kind person that just takes pity on you and talks to you, and you're like, thank God, thank God there is somebody that wants to talk to me.
And when I was in high school, I know I have an anecdote that would fit into this movie. When I was in high school, I was eating, I don't remember who approached who, but either I was eating on my own, or who ended up becoming my best friend was eating on his own. But we started talking, and the first thing that I said to him, I said, "Did you know that if you were to take out all of the veins in your body and stretch them out into like a single file, they would reach the moon?" And he was like, he's cool.
Best friend material,
he's gonna be my friend.
Yeah.
Or it was a fact like that. I don't know if it goes around the world or it reaches the moon or something like that.
A far distance.
But that was that was my opener, and it worked.
But that's the thing. I mean, that character in the film, he's the true winner because he's unafraid to be himself from the very beginning. You know, authenticity comes naturally to him. And 8th grade ends in a really nice way, in that Kayla eventually embraces herself. And I think initially she's perhaps maybe a bit reluctant to be friends with this guy because, like, he's weirder than the other kids because he's not putting on a performance. And
he's not the cool version that she wants to be.
Right, so she knows that if she's friends with him, then she'll be perceived in the same way as him, which is slightly weird and, like, not really fitting in.
Yeah.
But by the end, she's like, she's actually cooler than everyone else because she knows that authenticity is the coolest way to be. Coolest way to be.
Yeah, actually, I have something to say about that. That my husband actually, he was the one who thought this. But before we get into that, there's something that we have to talk about. It's a very uncomfortable part of the movie. So at some point in the movie, they have this program where they're I believe that she's in She's about to go to high school.
Yeah, she's about to start 8th grade.
She's in the last year before going to high school. I do not understand the
It's the last year of middle school.
Middle school. There you go. And there's this program where she gets paired up with someone on their last year of high school. So someone who's a little bit older than them.
Yeah.
And who can kind of guide them a little bit.
Like a buddy mentorship type thing.
Into what to expect about moving forward, right? And she meets this girl, and it's pretty cool because they kind of click right away. Yeah. Her and her mentor. And she's 18 years old. And then she asks to hang out with them. And she says yes, which is already like a little bit creepy. Not necessarily in like a predatory way. It's just
a bit odd.
This 18-year-old girl, hanging out with this 15-year-old.
Younger, she's like 12.
12, yeah. Just fully hanging out with them at the mall.
Yeah.
It's not bad. It's not wrong. It's just a bit odd.
It's just, I would, when I imagined my friend group when I was 18, if I imagine inserting a 12 or 13-year-old
Why would we talk to a 12-year-old?
You'd never, unless it was like one of your siblings.
Yeah.
Or like you were looking after
which would be cool.
Which would be fine. Yeah. But like, weird. Yeah.
So anyway, she goes to hang out with them, and it's 4 of them. And it's 2 girls and 2 boys. One of those girls being her. And immediately one of the boys is completely like taking the piss out of her and being like, why is she here? Whatever. And the other guy seems to connect with her and be like, don't listen to him. It's whatever. It's cool. You're welcome. It's cool.
Yeah.
At the end, this same guy and the girl who she's friends with are in the car. The 18-year-old friend gets dropped off. So it's only this 18-year-old boy and this 12-year-old girl.
Yep.
They're in the car, and he stops the car, and he moves into the back seat with her because she's not even allowed. She's too young to be in the front seat. He goes into the back seat with her, and he starts making moves on her. Rough.
It's a very uncomfortable scene.
Very rough scene to watch.
That scene is more terrifying than any horror movie ever because she's so like viscerally uncomfortable, and he starts off by making comments about like, oh, would you do this as a dare? Like, would you take your top off if I dared you? Would you like kiss me if I dared you? And then he starts like actually acting on those, and he's like, okay, well, I dare you to do this. I dare you to, and he's like kind of like he's coercing her into doing like sexual acts, and he's kind of saying like, oh, well, you know what, like if you really wanted to be cool, if you really wanted to fit in high school, you would do this, you would take your top off and you would like suck my dick or like do this.
She like believes it at the time almost.
She's
she has
young
no
and
clue.
she's impressionable, she's vulnerable, and she's so uncomfortable, and she's basically trying to deflect and be like, oh, like I should probably go home, and like I don't know, and she's trying to like laugh it off, but her laughter is so clearly like just full with like fear, and it's just so uncomfortable seeing her being so obviously manipulated by somebody in that situation, and it's absolutely rough. Awful to watch.
And I understand why it's in the movie. I don't think it should be taken out, even though it's like not good, and well, it is good, but the situation is quite toxic and abusive and stuff. I'm glad it's in because it's the first time where she actually finds her voice, because she does not give in. Yeah. She says, no, stop it.
She's using her voice, but in like, she's trying to be, in classic Kayla, she's trying to be like chill or like cool about it. She's like, she's trying to laugh it off and kind of find reasons that aren't just like outright, saying no. She's trying to be polite, which we're so often taught to do. But it's also showing the consequences of what would happen if she did conform to what she thinks she has to be.
Sure.
Because if she was going to conform to this prescribed like ideal of what is cool, and this like high school definition of what is cool, and be like coerced by this boy, like that would be the cost. It would be the cost of her safety, her like dignity.
We were eating dinner during that scene, and I had my little tiramisu, and I was just clutching it. I couldn't eat it, horrible. And my husband was like, "Oh, your cake," and I'm like, "I can't eat my cake while the girl is in trouble. I can't do that."
No,
it's rough.
It does. It just like completely stops you in your tracks. You feel like you don't breathe for the whole thing because you just really
very intense.
You really feel for her. It's a horrible situation to be in. But it does kind of show the cost of what would happen if she did not stand up for herself in that situation, and she didn't.
And Joel, my husband, kind of said exactly that, which is what you're saying, right? Because you have these 3 boys, which all present as potential entanglements, let's say, not necessarily love interest, because she was never really that interested in this guy. No. But you have the guy who she has a crush on, who she is completely invisible to him up until the moment where she says that she takes nudes, and all of a sudden he literally like snaps to look at her. So he's like only interested in her in that way. Then you have this creep who's only interested in her, but there's a huge power imbalance, and it's predatory. Yeah. And then there's this third guy who is interested in her completely. First off, in her mind, because the first time that they talk to each other, he's trying to talk to her rather than get anything out from her. And he wants to play with her. He's like, let's hold a contest for who can, hold their breath. And there's nothing at stake. He just wants to have fun. And then later, at the end of the movie, they go on a little house date together, and he's talking to her about her interests.
But it's not even romantic. It's just like purely friend. Yeah, just a friend.
And it could be romantic, but it could also not be, because all that it is someone who sees her and likes it. Yeah. And it's the first time, right? So you have these 3 boys, and the first one, she's looking up to this guy who he has a crush on. The second, she's being looked down on. Yeah. And then this third one, they see each other on the same level. Yeah. I was like, it's true. It's really true.
Nice. Yeah. But it is so depressing, and just that even from that age, from the age of 12, she knows that sex is the what you have to give to fit in, and like that's the price of conformity, because that's what boys will see her as, and she knows that to be accepted and liked by boys, like that's something that she has to give, basically. And that's such a horrible thing to be aware of at that age. I don't know. I mean, was that something when I was 12? I don't think that ever crossed my mind in terms of, I never thought that, like dating or like, it was not something that crossed my mind at all at that age. I never thought about, if I'm going to be liked by boys, then I have to do this or do this. Like, it wasn't even something on my radar. So I wonder if that's like I wonder if that kind of thinking is more prominent in like American
could be
schools.
It also could be that it's like a bit more modern about the internet. True.
I mean, when I was I didn't have like Facebook or anything when I was 12. I didn't really have anything.
And we also see phones in there. Another movie for my list
for your phone addiction.
Yeah, for my phone addiction. Another movie where phones are important, and she like stalks her friends on Instagram, and she says, to be liked, you have to comment on their posts and stuff like that. So another one of those. But when I was 12, I was also not thinking about any of these things. But weirdly, I feel like maybe we are outliers, right? Because of our perspective. Because my male friends would talk about dating and stuff.
To be fair, my friends probably, but I was never, I've always been like, I've never fit in, so like I never.
I'm just not like the other girls.
But like I just not in that way, but like I was like bullied. Like I just wasn't like I didn't fit in anywhere because people didn't like me. So like I was never worried about how to conform because I just knew that I wasn't, I knew that people didn't like me for it. So like I was quite lucky. Other girls my age,
I was quite lucky because I went to a very small school, very nerdy school as well. So even the bullies were nerds. And it was to the point that like there was so useless to have beef with someone because you would see them all the time, and there was no point, right? It was completely absent. And also I was just the hormones weren't fully kicking in the way that they were supposed to, so I wasn't fully like grasping anything. I was completely socially awkward. It was almost to the point I remember that we were talking about making a band, and for some reason I was in the conversation because I didn't know any instruments, and they were like, you can play the guitar, you can play the keyboard, and then they turned to me and they were like, and Doc can be the singer because every band needs a gay guy who can sing. And they said it with bad words, and at the time I was just so happy to be included. I was like, but what do you mean gay though? Because I couldn't even see it in myself, so
Bless.
I was like I feel like in that way I was like this other guy because I was just not really thinking about any of these things at all.
Yeah,
I thought these guys were interesting and who I didn't care about being gay. I didn't even notice it, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like in that way maybe you and I had like a different experience in the sense that we were just thinking about different things.
I definitely had I don't think my experience of growing up was, or being a teenager, I don't really relate to I don't relate to any like typical kind of high school movies because I'm like, that just wasn't me. But with someone like Kayla, I'm like, that kind of captures how I felt, except I wasn't really trying to fit in, so I was just like... People hate me, so I'm just gonna carry on being it myself, I guess.
My own business, thank you very much. I will say though, once I kind of like moved here to London and I started over, I became the bully, specifically to my teachers. I said, I never believed you, I never trusted you. Who the fuck are you?
Yeah, honestly, that's it. The bullies to bully.
Yeah, pipeline.
So good.
Well, I mean, this is more about film school than anything else, right? But I was taught to respect people once they give you a thing to respect.
Right.
And I'm like, if you've never proven yourself, I'm not going to go out of my way to be a dick to you, but who are you?
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah. But anyway, that's beside the point.
I do think actually something that's interesting, I think in the sense that the hotel is the manifestation of this man's like memory and like lack
his
of
mind
power.
Palace.
And his mind palace. The phone is that for Kayla in 8th grade. You know, the phone is the place where she goes to try and control how she's perceived and her memories and her image and like curate this like persona and this like idea of who she is and what her life is, and it's all through the phone. And then there's like quite an important scene where like she breaks her phone.
She chucks it and then
it smashes and she's like, oh shit, what have I done? But she's like so also best use of the Orinoco flow. You know, that's that Enya song. It's like...
Oh, yeah.
And that song playing, it also plays in Girl Dragon Tattoo, like during Daniel Craig's torture scene.
Does it?
Yeah, which is great. But anyway, it plays during this like scene where she's on her phone. It's kind of capturing like this like overstimulation of like data that's being fed to her.
Oh, yeah. Then, it's a really cool montage.
It's a great scene, yeah. And then, but she breaks that phone and she kind of finally... It's like her like rejecting this, you know? And it's interesting that there isn't a moment like that in Marienbad. He never finds a way out of the hotel. He's always at Marienbad, you know? He's like, he never has a respite from his pain and from his torment. It's like, this is going to be... He's in for the long haul, you know? He's maybe a permanent pine train.
Yeah, maybe we were all last year at Marienbad. Maybe we're still last year at Marienbad.
What's your Marienbad?
Do you have my Marienbad? I don't know. I think I live too manic of a life to be stuck somewhere.
You're not on a one-track mind. You're you're in a whole other speed limit.
5-track mind. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you have a Marienbad?
I think recently I would have said my Marienbad is like my goals for my idea of my future. And being so obsessed by the idea of the future that I wanted, that became my Marienbad because I was stuck in this like, how do I get to where I want to be, which I've recently freed myself from.
That's good. Yeah, that's really good.
Which we talked about. But I think that was my Marienbad, just obsession about my future. But I've recently destroyed that hotel, so
good.
Fuck Marienbad.
I do think in a way when I was younger, my Marienbad was being cool.
Oh,
I really wanted to be cool.
Yeah.
When I was a little bit older than 8th grade, but still that same like desire and drive to be seen as someone cool.
Do you think you still want to be seen as cool?
No, because now I am.
Yeah.
Like, well, now I feel cool every day, and I also know when to make an effort and when it's okay to not. You know, like. So, for example, yesterday when we were hanging out and we weren't recording and we weren't anything, I wasn't putting on any sort of performance. Well, other than the natural performance that we put on with people, right? When we filter our words to make sure that we don't hurt someone else's feelings or we don't say anything out of line.
Or call me a bitch. Yeah.
More so than usual, more so than acceptable, more so than you're used to.
Yeah.
But, you know, like I was truly just like authentically being in the moment.
Yeah.
And then you know, I try to perform a bit more on my videos and stuff. But I just really genuinely feel like I'm being myself all the time.
Yeah.
Which is
the best way to be.
I will say though, it's a lot harder. I've recently started like dipping my toes into streaming because it's something that I just really would like to do just for fun. And it's a lot harder to put on the performance of coolness when you don't have anyone to bounce off from. When it's just, I mean, here is the two of us and the mics and the camera and all of you guys. Hello, like, comment, and subscribe. But when you're just completely on your own with no one to bounce off from, it's a lot harder to just be used to yourself. You know?
I mean, it's funny because it reminds me of Bo Burnham's comedy special Inside, and he has this line where he's like, "Why don't you try being funny in a room all by yourself and when when nobody's watching?" And it is so true. It's but yeah, I mean, Kayla is trying to do that. She's trying to. Who are you when you're in a room alone? And she's trying to be the best version of herself when she's alone in her room, and to perform it and film it and to try and like preserve it and then live up to that in real life. Which she can't quite, but I don't know. I think as I've gotten older, I think the coolest people I know are what people would typically say are uncool. You know, like all the kind of like, I don't know, when you see those like videos on Instagram of like the East London people, and it's like, oh, look how cool their outfits are, and it's like, I just don't find that cool anymore because it just feels so performative and like trying so hard, and like to me,
I don't know if we're still saying hipsters, but I mean,
kind of, but the coolest people I've ever known are always the gapes, the people that like you're alone at a party and then some like person that's really completely not self-conscious and just like completely themselves comes up to you and like talks to you and is just weird and funny and like doesn't necessarily fit in, but they're just being them, and I think those are the coolest people. I love weird people. And
weird people.
They're the coolest.
Shout out.
Yeah, shout out.
Because we're not weird.
Right.
We're totally normal, totally well adjusted. Definitely just.
You can't say that with that flipping t-shirt. Honestly,
what do you mean? What do you mean? This Isabel, you cannot take me in my Isabel drip.
No, we are untouchable.
Cool. Yeah. Do you want to say anything else about about these films?
No. Do you have any last thoughts about Marienbad or anything else you want to add?
I will say that outgrown is the wrong word to use, but I'll use it for now until I think of a better word. I am glad that I've like outgrown how much I loved this film. Because even though it's still incredible and awesome and definitely like aspirational in terms of how good a film can be, I'm glad that I'm not stuck in that stoner, repetitive, obsessive, dreamlike vibe.
Yeah,
it was fun. I had a good time, but I'm glad that now I'm just a bit more in the real world.
Yeah, it's not a forever state.
Yeah,
you don't want to be at Marienbad forever.
You don't want to be at Marienbad forever.
No,
you learn a lot about yourself there, but there is such a thing as too much.
There definitely is. Yeah, I think being in that state of mind, if you can break free from it, it will free you as a person, like it does to Kayla. It does. You learn how to be comfortable with yourself and how to just like loosen your ideals of how you should be or what your life should be like or whatever. But Marienbad is not a place you want to be visiting on a holiday. You want to get like a little temporary workers visa. Yeah. You want to do your work placement there.
And then get out. Hotel California, bro. Try Marienbad. Nuh-uh.
Exactly.
Possibly the most disparate films that we've chosen, yet a lot of common ground there.
Yeah. Both very similar in terms of just the overall mood of like desperation for something, and both very dark but resolved in completely different ways. They are actually very similar films in terms of all those things that we talked about, but it's how they end that really separates them. Kayla is able to leave her Marienbad and she's go out into the real world and be herself and find love within herself, and this guy, he's just going to be permanently pining at the hotel lost in his own memories and forever.
Shout out to desperation, bro.
Yeah.
Shout out.
If you're in Marienbad, check yourself out.
Get out!